Welcome to today's deep dive. Today, you and I are unpacking a truly fascinating piece of commentary, and it's centered around this Italian police procedural television series called Il Commissario Ricciardi.
Right, yeah. It's a
It,
fantastic show.
it really is, and I want to set the scene for you right away. The world they build is it's incredible. It's set in this beautiful atmospheric environment of Naples back in 1934.
Oh, the aesthetics are just gorgeous.
Yeah, stunning backdrop. And against that, we follow our main character, Ricciardi. So he is a baron, but he actually works as a police commissioner at the Naples Questura.
Which is basically the police headquarters.
Exactly. And like any good detective, he works really closely with his inner circle, specifically a pathology doctor named Modo.
Right.
But, okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today isn't just to, recap a TV show for you. We're doing something a bit different. We're tracking the anatomy of a toxic dynamic.
Yeah, and the source material we're looking at focuses entirely on how the show's creators masterfully and honestly, tragically depict the evolution of what the author calls a false friendship.
Right, because Ricciardi is, absolutely convinced that Modo is his true friend. He thinks he's the best doctor ever. But the author of this text has laid out um, this trail of clues that prove otherwise.
It's so meticulous because toxic relationships, they rarely start with some massive tragedy, right? They usually begin with small, seemingly trivial boundary violations.
Which brings us to our first stage, exploitation and a power dynamic.
Mm.
The author points out that Modo is constantly asking Ricciardi to pay for his dinners at restaurants.
Constantly. Like, it's a running theme.
Right. And, I mean, we all have that one friend, right? Or we know someone who does. The friend who conveniently forgets their wallet every single time you go out.
Absolutely. The padding of the pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here, the exploitation peaks in a way that is it's wild. There's a moment where Modo literally holds an autopsy report hostage.
A literal murder investigation document.
Yes. He refuses to show it to Ricciardi until the commissioner pays for his meal. And I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
How does a brilliant police commissioner tolerate someone using a murder investigation as leverage for a free meal? It's professionally absurd.
It is absurd. But, this is where Ricciardi's blind spot begins. He complies because he fundamentally misunderstands Modo's character.
How so?
Well, Ricciardi thinks this is just eccentric banter between buddies. He completely misses the underlying disrespect and the manipulation happening right in front of him.
Ah, so he's just filtering through the lens of friendship.
Exactly. Which brings us to stage 2. We transition from this, financial exploitation to the fundamental philosophical differences between the two men.
Because it's not just about the money.
No, not at all. It's about how they actually view human life. The author highlights the scene where they're doing an autopsy on a murdered woman, and Modo just dismissively notes that, well, the victim only had 8 months to live anyway due to an illness.
It's so callous. And Ricciardi responds in this incredibly poetic way. He says, they are a spring and a summer.
Which is just a beautiful line.
It really is. It shows he deeply appreciates the value of life, even if it's just borrowed time. He sees the worth in those 8 months. But Modo does not.
Not even a little bit, and it gets worse. Later on, Ricciardi actually gets injured, and Modo has to operate on him.
Right, his best friend is operating on him.
Yeah. And afterward, Modo laughs and says, we couldn't get rid of Ricciardi.
Ugh. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because you contrast Ricciardi's view, the spring and summer, seasons of growth and warmth, with Modo's absolute coldness.
It's a stark contrast.
But I want to push back on the surgical incident. I mean, is Modo's dark joke about not getting rid of his friend just like a coping mechanism?
You mean because pathologists deal with death all the time?
Yeah. Is it typical dark medical humor, or is this actually the mask slipping to reveal real malice?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the author is really highlighting a severe empathy deficit here.
Oh, an empathy deficit.
Yeah. True friendship requires shared humanity. And Modo's inability to value a victim's remaining months.
The spring and summer.
Exactly. Combined with his callous joke about his supposedly good friend's survival, it just shows he is emotionally detached. He's cynical.
Which is a pretty dangerous trait for a doctor.
Highly dangerous. And that transitions us into stage 3, the sin of omission. Because a lack of empathy is dangerous, sure, but it becomes fatal when it turns into a lack of action.
Oh, absolutely. The stakes escalate from the professional realm right into Ricciardi's innermost circle.
Yeah. Ricciardi's beloved nanny and housekeeper, Rosa, she falls ill.
And she's practically a mother to him.
She is. So Ricciardi pleads with Modo. He begs him to come and help her, and Modo simply refuses.
He won't come.
He absolutely refuses to come. So Rosa has to be hospitalized, and she falls into a coma. And the author describes the scene where Ricciardi is sitting by her bed, just crying. He's devastated, and Modo is there, and he does absolutely nothing to intervene.
Nothing.
Nothing. He just looks at Ricciardi and states, normally, people like Rosa don't come out of a coma.
And ultimately, she dies. I read that part and I was just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
It is like watching a train crash in slow motion.
It really is.
I mean, how can a detective whose entire career is built on reading people, solving complex crimes, how can he be so incredibly blind to the cruelty of the man standing right next to him?
Well, the author uses this specifically to show the transition from a false friend to an active danger.
Because Modo actually has the power to do something.
Right. And his fatalism saying people like Rosa don't come out of a coma, it's essentially a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Wow. Yeah, I see that.
He uses his medical authority not to heal her, but to justify his own apathy. He decides it's hopeless, so he doesn't have to try.
That is just deeply grim. And despite Rosa's death, despite all of that, Ricciardi's blind loyalty persists, which sets the stage for the fatal betrayal at the end of the show's third season.
This part of the text is just agonizing to read.
It is. So Ricciardi brings his wife, Enrica, to Modo's hospital to give birth. And Enrica suffers a hemorrhage.
A massive medical emergency.
Right. And the source text breaks down Modo's incompetence step by step. It is excruciating. First, he does nothing.
Just freezes.
Yeah. Then he grabs the baby with forceps, which the author points out only makes the bleeding worse.
It actively exacerbates the trauma.
Exactly. Next, he attempts to stop this massive hemorrhage with a simple swab, like basically a tampon.
Which obviously fails.
Completely fails. And only at the very end, when it's entirely too late, does Modo finally ask for blood bags. But he asks for them to be brought from another neighborhood.
In an emergency.
Yes. And Enrica dies. So what does this all mean? Because my sheer frustration reading this cascade of failures, it's just off the charts.
It's infuriating.
The pacing of the author's summary really emphasizes that terrifying delay of simple interventions and the absurdity of having to fetch life-saving blood from a completely different neighborhood.
It makes no sense. And this raises an important question regarding accountability. Is Modo simply incompetent?
Right, like did he just panic?
Or is his inaction a form of quiet enmity? Is it weaponized incompetence?
Oh, wow. Weaponized incompetence.
Yeah. Because the source author explicitly states that Enrica's death ends season 3, and they really hope that in season 4, Ricciardi will finally realize that Modo is not just a false friend.
He's his enemy.
Exactly, his actual enemy.
Man. So to wrap this up, I mean, we've just seen how a masterful television narrative uses these subtle red flags, the unpaid dinners, the dark jokes, to foreshadow devastating betrayal and medical negligence.
It really creeps up on you.
It does. And the author of the text actually signs off by wishing the reader only true friends, a sentiment that I warmly extend to you listening today.
It's a great sentiment. But I want to leave you with a final, lingering question to ponder.
Oh, I like where this is going.
If a brilliant police commissioner, a man whose entire existence revolves around uncovering the hidden truths and the dark motives of strangers.
A guy whose job is literally seeing through people.
Exactly. If he can be so completely blinded by the illusion of friendship, what does that say about the psychological walls we build in our own lives?
Wow.
Is our deep human desire for connection actually the ultimate disguise for the enemies hiding in plain sight?
I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. It's a terrifying thought, but a really important one. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We will catch you next time.